Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tina. In this video, I'm gonna talk about another JSP action, which is called JSP Include. Okay. First, I will go through the theory. Then I will show you the code from scratch. Okay. So JSP include this action, which is used to insert files at the time the page is being requested, which is when I request the page, this JSP include will include another file. It has two ways to include a file. The first way is we just include a page, okay? And here we will give a relative URL. This relative URL can be another JSP, can be another static file like HTML, can also be servlets, okay, which is a URL to a servlets, okay? You can also using expression here, it will become a string. That a string can also be eventually become a string, and the JSP include, we are trying to find the string value which the file exists or not exist. Okay, if not exist, it's gonna throw error. And it have an optional attribute called a flash. Okay, and this flash by default is a false, and it's going to determine whether the included resource has its buffer flashed before it is included, which means in the code, let me show you example here. Yeah, sorry, my pen doesn't work well. Excuse me, I will have a pen, and the pen color just using red. Okay. Suppose in my index.jsp, okay, and here I have a body. Body has h1 something, okay. After that, I have a paragraph and something. Okay, and after that, I have this JSP tag include another page flash equals true. True means for so far in index.jsp, the page in our out.print or write, okay, the response, the stream, okay, we already output till this step, right? So if we write true, it means flash here, out.flash here, which means all the content in the buffer, it will be flashed to the browser, okay? Then it will execute the include. That is a true means. And if it's a false, which is default behavior, it doesn't flash. When all the things is done, including the include file, it will flash, okay? If we set it to true, which means we flash what we have rendered so far in the buffer, okay? Then certain things you cannot do, which means like after this JSP include tag, you cannot using forward. You cannot set a cookie. You cannot set other HTTP header. I will show you example later if you still don't understand, okay? And there's another one. We mentioned this JSP prom when we talk about JSP forward. Here, Sam, you can also add a JSP request parameter when we do include. And you can also retrieve the key value pair. This is the key, and this is the value in this included page. Okay, this one. And the next one, let's take a look at the JSP include, the working scenario, the behavior, okay, when we have a tag. So when the client requests for this a.jsp, let me using another color. Excuse me. How about using excuse me, green. Okay. So now when a client requests to this a.jsp, a.jsp here, this gray lines means other content, right? Other content. And then it has included to b.jsp. Okay, this is b.jsp file. So now, when the servlet container enters a JSP include this action, okay, it will make another request. Internally, it will make a request to this include page. In our case, here is b.jsp. Then every request is gonna have a response, right? Then it's gonna include the response from the b.jsp into the current page, okay? And the response thing gonna be inserted where you actually declare this JSP include. So this JSP include action is actually called location sensitive. Okay, because where is the location of b.jsp content gonna be inserted is where you declare this JSP include. Okay, that is how JSP include doing. Okay, like you make a null request, get a response, then you insert it here. Okay, and everything happens at a runtime, which is when the client requests a.jsp and this action happens. And also means every client make a request to a.jsp. The action will happen for every request. Okay. If we have 10 requests comes to a.jsp, then the include action will be repeated 10 times. That's what I mean. Okay. So when we using JSP include action, there are also some rules. First, the page cannot change a response status code and set a header, which means here in the b.jsp, you cannot change the status code. Suppose when we make a request to a.jsp is 200 OK, okay? You cannot change in b.jsp when in the response you say response dot set status code to be 344. You cannot do that, okay? And if you do, it's gonna be ignored. And the servlet container include the response, not the source code. Okay, not the source code, response, which means everything is being rendered already in the container of the included page. Okay, and the response of the included page is inserted into the current JSP at the position of where the JSP include action is being actually declared, which is position sensitive, using location in previous one. Okay, and here, sorry, excuse me, there's a small flyer goes to my mouth. Okay, excuse me. So for this one, this green light, this green color is not nice. I will go back to using red. So if the include JSP started with a slash, then the servlet will interpret the page as relative to the web application context. It's exactly like other when you are using anchor tag, and when you are using like in the form, you have the action. In action, you give URL. Okay, this one means suppose at. Okay, your demo your JSP action project. Okay, JSP action, and here is web dot index dot like JSP. Okay, suppose this part, yeah, this gonna be your context root. Okay, and this is your path. Okay, so if you have a slash, when the web container trying to find the page, okay, you are trying to include, it will start this path, not start with this web, start with context root. But if you don't start with a slash, it doesn't start with a slash, okay, the container we are using the relative to current page, which is relative to index.jsp, okay, not relative to the JSP action, this folder. It's the same when you are using relative, you are excuse me, I have to drink a little bit of water. I kind of like feel that small flyer goes to my body. Okay, excuse me, sorry for that. The container will treat the page as relative to a JSP exactly same as we using href. And if in href you're using slash, okay, it's gonna start with your context root. And if you don't like a slash result.jsp result, okay, or another is result, they're different. This one is relative to current URL or current JSP, okay. This one is start with your context root, okay. So next one, value of the page URL can be a runtime expression that evaluates to a string, which is this one here. It can be dynamic. This is what I mean. You can also use an ER expression. Okay. Next one, the servlet container will throw an exception if it could not find the include page. I can show you a demo later. So last slides, I want to talk related to JSP include action. Yes, do you still remember we actually talked about another include before, which is a JSP include directive. Do you remember? Directive has 3, right? Taglib, page. The other one is called the include, right? We already talked about page and we already talked about include. And when we talk about include, we can also include another file, right? And today we also talked about JSP include, which also can include a file. What's the difference between them? Here I have some comparison between them. First, JSP include directive. It happened, the include resource happened at translation time. Translation time is what? The first thing when we using JSP, right? Suppose I have index.jsp. When the first client make a request to the JSP, JSP will be translated into index_jsp.java. And this Java is actually a servlet. And this is called translation. So now JSP include directive, the include happened at translation time. And which means what? Which means the translation only happened once in entire life of this JSP file. Okay, so at the runtime, there's nothing being actually happened. Nothing happened because everything happened at the translation time. But so, and if we have a 10 or 100 requests that go to this index.jsp, no matter how many requests goes to this index.jsp, only one time is being executed, which is executed of this action to include the page. Only once, okay? But for JSP include is different. JSP include, the including resource happened at request time. When a request comes to our page which has a JSP include, then including this action will be triggered. If we have 100 requests that goes to the page, then 100 including process will be executed, okay, or will be happened. And for JSP Include Directive, it's better for static pages, which is quite used often when we do JSP, okay, which when we're using JSP as a template, yes, for layout. Because normally when we have a page, okay, I'll draw here, we will have a header, right? We will have a footer. Okay, you may have a sidebar. Okay, and normally for the header and the sidebar and the footer, they kind of like a static content. Okay, just to have a regular things like copyright or contact us, those informations, right? And so when we using when we do our development for application, we can put this header into something like a header.jspf. There's another type of file called JSPF. F stands for fragments. Fragments, which means it doesn't include the entire HTML, just a part of the information which can be included into other JSP, like inside the body tag. And this one we can call menu or sidebar .jsp, right? And here we will have another one called the footer.jsp. And in our index.jsp, then we combine them together, which is using include header, include sidebar, and include footer. And we have the center, which is the actual content, which is inside a JSP. So later on, when we want to change the footer information, we don't need to change it. Go to every JSP page to change it. We just go to the footer.jsp, change it one place, apply everywhere. And for JSP Include, it's better for dynamic pages, which means for every request, probably the information based on the different user, the pages are be different. So JSP Include Action is better for that. And the JSP Include Directive includes the original content into the generated servlet, because during translation time, it's not being executed. So it's gonna be the original content, which means is the source code. Okay, and this one, as we discussed in previous slides, it's not the source code. It's the response. Do you remember? It's a response. Here we talk about not the source code. It's a response. Okay, it's being already executed. This page the container is already executed. And then it will include a response into the current page. Okay, so that's the content theory part about JSP Include. I don't want the video to be very long, so I will create another video talking about the demo. Okay. And for this is the reference, which is some of the content I grab from this URL. You can go and check by yourself. Okay, that's it for this video. And if you still have doubt, please go to my next video, which has a demo. Thank you. Bye bye.